We want to differentiate between lean startup and lean. So lean startup is actually when you don't know the value that you're creating or for whom. Over on the lean side, that's a set of practices that reduces waste once you already know the value and for whom you're creating it. On the disruptive side, you're actually optimizing your company for learning, whereas over on the lean side, you're optimizing for execution. So you want to eliminate all of the steps that hinder your execution in creating and distributing and selling and marketing that value to known customers. What you're doing as you grow is you want to start converting parts of your company from lean startup into lean. So as you learn, then you have a team that is actually executing on what you've learned. So the trick is really, again, it's maintaining those human resources properly so that you've got the right people aligned. If you have a strong entrepreneurial engineering team and you force them to start doing very siloed process-driven engineering, and you're evaluating based on lines of code or number of features built, then you might end up having a bunch of unsatisfied engineers, and they might leave to go get to their next startup venture. So the real trick is, and there's no easy answer, it's actually very difficult, and frankly a lot of this stuff is new, is how do you actually deal with the growing company in terms of your human resources? And that's actually going to dictate then the business activities. So as you're learning, you maybe want to keep team executing to start scaling it, and then keep some of those entrepreneurial people continuing to innovate. So where else in the business model can you actually be running experiments? And it's not always, this sort of gets into the cross-functional team sort of idea. It's not always that engineers don't want to do process-oriented engineering, so therefore they must do more testing in engineering. What can those engineers be working on that's not necessarily product-oriented? Could they be helping marketing running tests? Can they do internal processes, helping maybe IT becoming more efficient as you're trying to grow, or learning new techniques? Really, it's up to the management team to figure out where their resources are best deployed. But the idea is, once you've learned, now you execute. You don't stick with your minimum viable product once you've figured out how to fulfill that promise we were talking about. Now you need to build out that product in order to create the passion that we were talking about that fills the top of your funnel. And the same thing goes with marketing and sales and the other parts of your business. Is first you're experimenting to see what works. Once you've learned what works, you double down on that, and now you need to hire and put resources and processes in place in order to scale that execution. If you're successful and you become this large company, well then what you try to do is keep internal startups going. Not only do these internal startups need to be protected from the same sort of revenue metrics or rules about experimentation, that sort of thing. Not only does a startup need to be protected from the mothership, but the mothership needs to be protected from the startup. And the idea is that these internal startup people get to experiment quickly and continue to do the things that startups do, as long as they follow the ground rules that protects the mothership.